Most people believe their life will get better when they add more. More habits, more discipline, more action, more motivation. But the hard psychological truth is this. Most people aren't sinking because of what's missing. They're sinking because of what they never let go of. It's not addition holding you back. It's accumulation. Psychologists call this identity clutter. The buildup of thoughts, habits, expectations, and emotional weight that collects inside your mind until you can't recognize yourself underneath it. You don't break down all at once. You break down slowly, silently, gradually. The way water erodes stone. Soft, subtle, unstoppable. And most people won't realize it's happening until one day they wake up and feel like a stranger inside their own life. Here's the darker part. Your brain is wired to choose familiar pain over unfamiliar peace. Meaning you will cling to habits that hurt you simply because you've learned to survive with them. And that's why you stay stuck. Not because you can't change, but because you're comfortable in the cage you hate. So instead of adding more to your life, today we subtract. These are 9 habits slowly ruining your potential. And the sooner you release them, the faster your life realigns. Let's begin. The first habit destroying people quietly is the urge to prove their worth. If you were raised to believe love must be earned, you will spend your entire adulthood chasing achievement like oxygen. You measure your value by how productive you were today, how many tasks you completed, how much you accomplished. You rest only when you feel you've earned it, and you never quite feel like you have. But achievement is applause, not identity. If your worth is something you have to perform for, you'll never feel safe in your own skin. True peace begins when you stop proving and start simply existing. When you realize that rest is a right, not a reward. The moment you accept that your value is not conditional, your entire nervous system relaxes. You stop fighting to be enough. You start living like you already are. The second silent killer is entertaining empty conversations. You know the kind. Where you talk, but you don't connect. Where the words are there, but the meaning isn't. Where you leave feeling drained, unheard, invisible. Psychologists call this conversational depletion. It happens when you give your emotional presence to people who only want noise, not depth. You don't need a crowd. You need connection. And sometimes silence nourishes you more than company. When you stop entertaining shallow dialogue, your inner voice grows louder. Your thoughts sharpen. Your peace returns. Not every conversation deserves access to your nervous system. Habit number 3 is chasing closure. You replay the memory. You analyze what you should have said. You wait for answers, apologies, explanations, some kind of final sentence that makes the story make sense. But closure is rarely given. And even when it is, it rarely satisfies. Healing doesn't come from understanding. It comes from accepting the unanswered. You don't move on when you get closure. You move on when you stop needing it. Some chapters end without permission. Some stories remain unfinished. Peace is when you stop trying to make every page line up perfectly. Habit number 4 is using self-criticism as motivation. People think being hard on themselves will push them forward, but self-attack cripples growth. Neuroscience shows that harsh inner dialogue increases cortisol and decreases learning ability. You can't build a strong future with a voice that breaks you. Growth requires guidance, not punishment. Instead of saying, "I'm failing," say, "I'm learning." Instead of, "I'm not enough," say, "I'm evolving." The brain believes repetition. Speak to yourself in the tone you want to grow from. The 5th habit that drains people without them noticing is the fear of being boring. This one is subtle. It makes you perform instead of exist. You exaggerate, you entertain, you adjust your personality like a costume to keep people interested. You trade authenticity for approval. But real connection is built on honesty, not performance. The less you try to be interesting, the more real you become. And real is louder than effort ever will be. People don't bond with perfection. They bond with truth. You don't need to shine to be seen. You just need to show up as yourself. Habit 6 is feeling guilty for outgrowing people. Growth separates paths. Evolution creates distance. Not because you stopped caring, but because you stopped staying small. You're not abandoning them. You're leaving an older version of yourself behind. And some people loved that version more than the one you're becoming. Outgrowing people isn't cruelty. It's progression. Some can't follow where you're going. Not because they're bad, but because they're rooted in a chapter you've already finished. You don't owe anyone your stagnation. Becoming more will always require leaving something behind. Habit 7 is over-explaining your decisions. You soften your tone. You justify yourself. You hand people long explanations, hoping they will approve, accept, understand. But explanation is often just disguised permission-seeking. You're hoping someone will validate what you already know you want. Power grows in silence. You don't need to convince the world to agree. You are allowed to make decisions and move toward them without explaining every step. The more you stand in your truth quietly, the more respect you command. Habit 8 is needing everyone to understand you. This one sinks deep. You want people to see your heart, to see your intentions, to know you meant well, but some never will, and they don't have to. Your peace cannot depend on being fully understood. You are not responsible for fitting inside someone else's perception. When you release the need to be interpreted correctly, you step into emotional freedom. People misunderstanding you doesn't harm you. Needing them to understand does. And habit 9, the one modern life hides best, drowning your mind in digital noise. The constant scrolling, the alerts, the notifications, the endless dopamine drip that keeps you numb and overstimulated at the same time. When the brain receives constant stimulation, silence feels painful. Not because silence is uncomfortable, but because you've forgotten how to be alone with your own thoughts. Quiet isn't empty. Quiet is where clarity waits. Unfollow quietly. Mute freely. Delete without announcement. Protect your attention like oxygen, because your life will suffocate without it. Now breathe for a moment and listen. If even one of these habits hit you a little too hard, it means you're ready. Awareness is the first step in breaking patterns. Not force, not shame. Just recognition. The truth is, your life won't transform when you add more. It will transform when you finally remove what has been breaking you. You don't have to fix everything at once. Just choose one habit to release this week. 1. And watch how quickly your identity begins to return. You'll think clearer. You'll feel lighter. You'll recognize yourself again. And if you want to keep growing, keep peeling back the layers. Keep becoming more like the person you were designed to be. Subscribe. Not for me, but for you. So you don't lose momentum. So you don't fall back into the version you just stepped out of. So you keep walking forward into the life that's been waiting for you on the other side of letting go. Because removing what destroys you isn't self-improvement. It's self-return.